Hello, good day everyone, and welcome again to another lecture video for our course for astronomy for science for summer 2020. And now we are down to the lecture 2 of our lesson, which is entitled the solar system. And I know you are very much excited to this one because this is one of the most exciting topic for astronomy about the solar system, and which is also important to learn, especially in teaching to um, in career in the future to the students, to the elementary students. So let's start. So from last meeting or from last video, we talked about um, how how the universe or what are how big the universe is. So we also learn about electromagnetic radiation and also what are those objects in the universe. And now let us deal with the solar system. For this lesson, we will be knowing about the overview, setting the scene of where we are, what is the sun, the terrestrial planets, or itong mga first four planets in the solar system. And we have also the giant planets or the Jovian planets and everything else. So these are composes our topic for this day. But I would like to thank the honor of this presentation again, si Ma'am or si Dr. Helen Johnson of the School of Physics of the University of Sydney. Okay, so what we expect is, diba, as we recall in our mga history about science, we know that one of the person who contribute about this idea about solar system is Nicholas Copernicus, wherein the sun is the center of the universe, or heliocentric model, wherein what we believe until today. So as we believe, heliocentric model, sun is the center of the universe or the solar system itself. So the sun contains over 99.8% of the mass of the solar system. It has 8 planets orbiting it, but plus a multitude of smaller worlds. Atong i-clarify that Pluto is not part of the planets, but Pluto are included as a dwarf planets. Hindi na siya included as the 8 major planets of the solar system. And imagine, ang pinakadako dira, it contributes to the solar system, ang sun yun, ang star na to, center sa universe, or center sa tong system. So as you can see, we have here the terrestrial planets, a small rocky world with thin atmosphere, the first 4 planets, the Mercury, the Venus, Earth, and the Mars. For the remaining 4 planets, we have the giant planets such as Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, which is a giant planet, 4 huge gas giants containing most of the mass of the solar system. Sila mga dagko kayo ng mga bugat pud kay na sila. And also, there are 2 or 3 very small icy rock balls or something like a dwarf planets such as the Pluto, the Charon, and the Aries. So this all comprises the solar system. But the orbit of the planets are very nearly circular and concentric. Dili siya circle good, but concentric ang tawag niya. Whereas something like naka edge gamay. So that's it. All the planets but not Pluto orbit in the same direction and in the same plane. The elliptic within 16. So that's it. Naka-elliptical ang mga kuan and ang orbit. Most of the planets, all except Mercury and Venus, have moons in the orbit around them. The giant planets all have large satellite systems consisting of several large and medium-sized moons, as well as many smaller moons and rings. So from all those planets in the solar system, only Mercury and Venus. Um, I think Venus has a moon. Um, let me let me let me check. So I think wala siya. No moon. Okay, so all planets except Mercury and Venus have moons or satellite. So kining duha is wala ni sila yung mga moons. So we have here for the Earth, we have only one moon, which is what we call as our moon, Luna. For Jupiter, we have four, actually dagan kay ang Jupiter, but these are some of the mas ilado nga mga moons or satellites. Sa Saturn's also, daghan po ni sila. That's it. Uranus, daghan po ni sila, and also Neptune. The largest of these satellites are larger than some of the planets. Maybe these following satellites or following moons of the other planets or katong mga gas giants like Jupiter and Saturn, mostly ang ilang mga planets are also larger than some of the planets in the solar system. Because tungod sa kadako sa planet is dagko pud ang mga moons niya, which is ang mga moons niya the same pud kadakon sa mga planets, itong mga smaller planets such as Mercury, such as Venus and Earth. So pari-pariha siya. And also some Venus. All of the planets go around the sun in the same direction. Most moons go around their primaries in the same direction, and most but not all of the planets spin in the same directions as well. So, pareha sila ang mga planets, the same ang ilang direction pag-revolve around the sun. But not all of these planets rotates on its axis in the same direction, because there are planets whom nag-rotate siya on its axis in different direction. Some of which is a Venus. A Venus rotates in a counterclockwise or a clockwise direction, because Mercury, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, like look at the arrow. The arrow is focusing this one, so counterclockwise. So Earth counterclockwise, Mars counterclockwise, Jupiter counterclockwise, Saturn counterclockwise, Uranus counterclockwise, Neptune counterclockwise, and Pluto counterclockwise, including Pluto. But Venus rotate on its own axis in a clockwise movement, pabali siya. So murag lahi iyahang movement, na siya rin lahi sa tanan. So the first important object in the solar system is our star, which is the sun. At the center of the solar system is the sun. It is fairly average of a G2 type star. The sun weighs about 300,000 times as much as the Earth, and is 1.3 million times the volume. So nano siya kadako. The sun shines because it is continually producing energy in its core through hydrogen fusion. So there's a sun, that is why init kayo ang sun, because of fusion of hydrogen. So sige lang na sila og kanang fusion of ini nga type of element. Okay. That is our sun, a hot ball of glowing gases. The temperature of a surface of a sun is 5,780 Kelvin. in the core, the temperature is 15 million degrees. Imagine, na kainit. Og mo na siya nga kainit ang naghatag tibuok sa toong tibuok system sa solar system nato. The core extends from the sun center to about 1/4 of its radius, or about 100 or 175 million kilometer. It contains 1.6% of the sun's volume, but about 1/2 of its mass. The convection zone takes up the outer 30% of the sun's radius. The heat is transported by giant bubbles of gas circulating upwards, releasing their energy when sinking down again. So the same with the process in our Earth, the the sun also has also a process of what do you call this one? A process of convection, wherein like this one, the hot area will move upward, and then the cooler area will will sink, and then balik-balik din na siya dayon, and then that is a cycle, that is a process of convection. That is why init kaayo ang ato ang sun, because of this convection cycle. So I think you have also idea naman sa convection cycle in our physics class. I also explained this one. So I think just na lang, remember those things. By the way, I will just explain this katong mga important na lang itaas ra jud kay siya. These convection currents are visible on the surface of granule. Hot gas rises in the center, radiates its heat, then sinks along the dark edges. Then ako we can see below the outer surface of the sun, the photosphere, but we can use heliosismology, the study of vibration of the sun, to understand the solar interior. We can di man siya nakita sa sun, kung tanawon to sa tanawon na to ang star, sakit ba sa mata. But with the use of this heliosismology, a technology, a study of vibration sa sun, masabtan na to, makita na to kung unsa ang iyang outer surface sa sun na to. This vibration shows that the sun is completely gaseous and rotates its bands. So that you can see, kumaga naagya po yung circulation of heat. So dili steady ang movement, with the equator rotating faster than the poles. In addition, there is a polar jet stream below the surface and a general flow from the equator to the pole. The same with other planets. We have equator, we have poles. So the same also ato nga mga planets. Ang ato pong star or ato ang sun has its pole and also this one, equator. At the surface, we see a granules from the convection, but also often see giant sunspot. These are some convection cycle, kini mga granules. As you can see, ito nga nang gisultin ako. Ano mga nga forma. So that is on the surface of the sun, tanaw na to na siya, using a heliosismology. Heliosismology. But mostly, ang makitaan yun na ito, maklaro na ito kikita sa sun is ang itawag na ito nga sunspot. Kini siyang marag mga dark spots, but gitawag siyang sunspots. Sunspots can be many times larger than the Earth. They appear dark because they are cooler than their bright surroundings. About 2,000 Kelvin cooler, imagine. Bugnaw na siya, pero init gyapon para sa tuwa. Most sunspots remain visible for only a few days, other than last 4 weeks or months. A very large sunspot group, about 13 times the size of the Earth. Example, this one, 13 ka-Earth ang maiguan ng sunspot. Na siya kadako. So one of the drawings of the sunspot from June 23, 1613 by Galileo Galilei. So these are sunspot. Iyang gidrawing na siya. So sa una pa lang daan, nakita na siya sa mga sunspot using its telescope niya. Sunspots are associated with strong magnetic field. So that is because of the magnetic field of the sun. When sunspots comes in pair, they have opposite polarity, shown as a black and white in the magnetogram. If we see this one, this one, napo na siya kambal depod using this image or magnetogram, using this technology. The sun's magnetic field is confined to shallow layers near the surface. As the sun rotates, since the equator rotates faster than the poles, the magnetic field line get wound up. Occasionally, a loop of magnetic field breaks free. We see the feet of the loop as pair sunspot. So that is the movement of the magnetic field. Yung mga arrows. And you know that one that because of this magnetic field, it brings all the planets together. So muna nga na-enjoy position ang mga planets, how it rotates on its axis and also its orbit. Wala nagkatibulaag ang mga movements sa planets because of the magnetic field of the sun. Hinana ka powerful, hinana ka kakusog ang magnetic field sa sun. That is why na-hold niya ang eight together with other object in the solar system na mag-hold sa iya around it. Hinana ka strong niya. And also, muna siya pud the magnetic field of the sun also affect to the tides of the earth, to mga low tide ug high tide nato. So isa po na siya sa reason why natay mga tides ang iyahang magnetic field. When this loop we talk about loop. When this loop seen off the edge of the sun, it is called prominence. So makita nimo na ang moon kay mura siya mo buto dito, mura siya mga volcano ba. So this is called prominence in the lower atmosphere or chromosphere. So kanang murag makita ko nga edge or kanang mga surface sa sun, that is what we call this one as chromosphere. So some prominences erupt off the edge of the sun in minutes or hours. These blobs of gas are truly enormous. That is why if you're going to read or if nakita mo nakawatch mo mga discussion or report about sa TV na naayam rin aning nga mga panghitabo, more ang radiation nga ma-emit sa sun towards the planets. And that is why sometimes init kayo, o ma-expose kayo ni na, then too much ang radiation nyo ma-feel sa inyo. Above the chromosphere is the extended outer atmosphere called corona. Diba? As what I have said, ang makita niyo mga surface sa sun is what we call this chromosphere. But napagi pinaka-outer pag niya nga layer, which is what we call this corona. X-ray images of the sun shows that the corona is a violent, ever-changing place. That is what we call corona. Coronal loops are found around sunspots. They are associated with magnetic field lines connecting magnetic regions of the solar surface and can last for days or weeks. But makita nimo ang corona when there will be we can see corona of the sun if we have kanang itong mag-eclipse, so total solar eclipse, we can see the corona of the sun. Solar flares are tremendous explosions on the surface of the sun. They typically last a few minutes and release energy across the electromagnetic spectrum from the radio to X-ray as well as the energetic particles. And that is why kanang mubuto eruption, that is what we call as solar flares, and that contributed to the radiation or to the electromagnetic radiation that we receive in the solar system. That's it. The sun emits a high-speed solar wind consisting primarily of the electrons and protons with a few heavier ions. It blows continuously and an average velocity of 400 kilometers per second. It escapes from the sun primarily through coronal holes at the pole. So imagine, because of the solar winds produces by the sun, na-create ang mga aurora borealis, aurora australis in the North Pole. Ang tawag niya aurora borealis. Kung sa South Pole po, yung tawag siya aurora australis. So that is why natay mga inana, mga gases, or such as, isa po sa reason na natay ng mga color na makita nato because of the plasma state of matter. So let's proceed to the planets. But I have here a very important thing to know about the planets. A word planet means wanderer. Marag wonder. According to International, forget the term, IAU defines planet as any celestial body that is in orbit around the sun. Because muna maklaro na to nga, maklarify ba na to nga ang Pluto ba, another object, is a planet or dili. Muna nag-away sila ana. Has sufficient mass for its self-gravity to overcome rigid body forces so that it assumes hydrostatic equilibrium nearly around shape, has cleared the neighborhood around its orbit. If na ba siya mga silingan ng mga planets. The four innermost planets are called terrestrial, meaning Earth-like, and the larger outer planets, such as Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and are known as the gas giants or Jovian planets because of their outer layers are composed of gases such as hydrogen and helium. So let's proceed first about the terrestrial planets. So the rocky worlds or Earth-like planets. The innermost planets are the terrestrial planets, at least approximately Earth-like planets. The terrestrial planets are small, dense, rocky world with much less atmosphere than the outer planets. They all lie in an inner solar system, where composed of, kinis lang upat is more about rocks. Terrestrial ang ilahang component sa ilang as an object, as a planet. So the Mercury, the Venus, the Earth, and the Mars. Mercury, I think, you all know already that Mercury is the smallest planet in the solar system, only slightly larger than the moon. And sometimes Mercury is sometimes called as a twin of our Luna, our moon, because of the same size niya of pare-pareha siyang feature, pare-pareha siyang forma or yung appearance. Mercury orbits the sun every 88 days and rotates on its axis once every 58.7 days. This combines to give Mercury a day of 176 Earth days long, twice the length of the year. Why is it inaniman siya? Because natabuha mo rotate siya sa in own axis 58 days. Imagine kung Earth days na siya. Kung ang 1 day nato, ang 58 days nato, isa pa na ka-day niya. Let's say, okay siya. Mo orbit siya sa sun 88 days. Dahil na kayo siya makahuan. Okay, sorry. Mo rotate siya on axis of 176 Earth days before siya makomplete niya ang iyang its rotation. But paspas kayo siya, dali na kayo siya iyang isa ka Earth, isa ka year niya is 88 days sila. Tuwa kay 357 days. So ang Mercury 88 days sila. Muna siya. Mercury has almost no atmosphere. Another kanang facts about Earth, about Mercury is ang isa ka part, kung atong tungon ang iyang phase, ang Ang pikas nga side is init kaayo, ang pikas nga side cold kaayo. Because of the slow niya nga rotation in its axis, hinahinay ra pud siya nga mag-convert ang temperature to hot to cold, from higher temperature to lower temperature. That is why ang pikas side pretty kay inita, ang pikas side pretty kay bugnawa. Kay dugay man po kito siya ma-expose ang pikas nga side sa sun because kay hinay kayo ang rotation niya in its axis. So kuha ba? Makutan lang mo if ever din maglibog mo, just comment na lang mo or kanang comment mo sa comment box if na may mga questions so that I can answer that one. Mercury's surface is dominated by impact craters and lava plains. It also has long linear features such as scarps and throws. So the next terrestrial planet is what we call as the Venus. Venus is also almost or exactly the same size of the Earth. That is why Venus is also known as the twin planet of Earth. It is completely covered with clouds. That is why it is the atmosphere of the Venus consists of 96% carbon dioxide and 3% nitrogen and trace amount of other chemicals. The clouds are not water vapor but sulfuric acid. The pressure at the surface is 90 times the air pressure on Earth, the same pressure found at the depth of 1 kilometer Earth's ocean. The temperature at the surface is 740 Kelvin or 470 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt a lead. And imagine that from all the planets in the solar system, Venus is the hottest planets. Why? Ganun siya man nga, ikaduha man siya nga planets because of the composition of its surface or its yung atmosphere nga cloud siya that consists of carbon dioxide and any other chemicals. And because of this one, because of the greenhouse gases which is present also in Earth, too much lang daghan na jud kayo ang iyahang clouds. Kumbaga, ang init gikan sa sun, matrap siya sa iyahang atmosphere because of the clouds niya, because of the greenhouse gases. And that is why dili makagawas ang kainit. Mo nang init kay siya. For example, let me draw. If this is the Venus, if let us say mag-draw ko ni Ugwan, this is the surface of the Venus. Diba, according to the definition, the atmosphere of the Venus consists of 96% carbon dioxide and nitrogen. So kumbaga, and also covered with clouds. For example, if these are clouds, and then these clouds composes carbon dioxide and nitrogen, and other amount of other chemicals. And also, the clouds are not water vapor but sulfuric acid. So kung nani sun diri, sun siya, ang kainit gikan sa sun, mo enter siya sa atmosphere sa Venus. And what happened is, because of the clouds, Di ba ang kainit sa sun is mo bounce back na siya pagawas kung may magpabilin sa sulod supposedly. And because of the clouds niya, baga kay nga greenhouse gases, dili nakagawas ang kainit. And that is why magbalik-balik na siya dira sa iyahang surface. And at such time, too much heat na gi-produce gi-emit sa sun, mapadulong tanan diri sa sulod sa Venus. And that is why siya ang pinakainit. And that is why gisud diri is 740 Kelvin or 470 degrees Celsius. Kuha? So ito pa kung tanagyan po nimo, just comment down sa atong comment box. From radar mapping mission Magellan, we know that the surface of the Venus is dominated by volcanoes. That is also why I said init po kayo siya because of the component of the Venus nga mostly sa nasa Venus are volcanoes, active volcanoes, wherein it composes or there's an active volcano, so sige lang siya eruption. And if daghan og eruption na volcano, daghan pud magtapok ng mga greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide nga magtapok sa atmosphere, and it causes um, global warming or too much heat to its atmosphere. Muna siya, init kayo siya. More than 80% of the planet is covered by vast low-lying areas and relatively featureless flows of lava. There are also about 150 giant volcanoes, up to 700 kilometers in diameter and up to 5.5 kilometers in height. So muna siya ipasabot niya, init jud kaayo ang Venus. So kamo na lang ibasa ani. Padali ta. The third one, our pinakapalangga, our Earth. The Earth's surface is concealed by atmosphere with its large cloud system, by the large amount of liquid water which covers 70% of the planet, and by vegetation, the latter two are unique in the solar system. So this is only planet which is livable because of the presence of water. 70% water composes the planet. The Earth is the only planet which shows evidence of a large-scale plate tectonics than other planets. Oh, this is a sunset over the Pacific Ocean from the ISS or International Space Station. So International Space Station is kanang dira nag-abot ang mga atmosphere, dira nag-abot ang mga researchers, mga astronomers, in studying space about astronomy. Earth's atmosphere is composed primarily of oxygen and nitrogen. This composition has changed significantly the Earth's history, principally because of the development of the photosynthesis, because of the presence of the plants. The Earth's moon is the largest in relation to the planet of any object in the solar system, except Pluto or Charon. The moon is 1/4 the radius of the Earth, and 1/8 to the 1/8 its mass. We have only one moon, which is Luna, and we will tackle that one for the following days also. Mars is half. The next one is Mars, half of the radius of the Earth and about 10% of the mass. It takes nearly twice as long to orbit the Sun, but the length of its day and its axial tilt are very close to the Earth. And also, Mars are entitled as a red planet because of its composition. Yeah, Mars has thin atmosphere, primarily so about nitrogen and argon, because mostly sa iyahang atmosphere, composition niya dito is mostly kanang rust. Muna siyang red planet siya. So nasa gihimo nga murag dichotomy of unsay surface based on the satellite. Mars is a planet of extremes. It has the tallest mountain in the solar system, which is the Olympus moon, which has 27 kilometers per high. That is the Olympus moon. Olympus moons, the tallest mountain in the solar system. We have also the biggest canyon in the solar system, Valles Marineris, over 4,000 kilometers long. Valles Marineris. The deepest hole in the solar system, Hellas Basin, is a giant impact basin 8.2 kilometers below the surrounding upland. So amazing na ang mga features sa Mars. There are many features showing that liquid water was an active Mars, at least at some stage. That is why there are some research today na bisan pwede or livable ba ka ang Mars? Pwede ba ka mapuyag tao ang Mars? Because there are some research na liquid water, na water ang Mars. Because if na presence of water, so it shows also na livable ang isa ka planet. So nakita nila rin nga na channels in wall of the Hellas Basin which is close up to show dark deposit. This one, dark deposit of like a muddy slurry. Mura siya lapok-lapok. May lapok, nandiyan na siya nagyan siya water. Outflow of a Chris Planitia about 20 kilometers across. The crater at the top of predates the flow, while the bottom craters um, postdate it. So kani siyang more channel or drainage channel. Ini siya. So these are some of the example na nagi water presence in Mars. But nag-further study pa sila. It seems clear that Mars had flowing liquid on its surface at least some stage during its history. Was there ever free water in Mars, a giant ocean of the north? Liquid water can exist on Mars at its current temperature and pressure. For Mars to have had surface water, its atmosphere must have been significantly thicker. Did Mars lose much of its atmosphere in the early history? These are some questions that scientists wants to know about. Between Mars and Jupiter, because the next planet is the Jupiter, which is a giant planet, we have this asteroid belt which contains probably 1.2 million objects. The largest are Ceres, Pallas, Vesta, Hygeia. Only 16 asteroids are larger than 240 kilometers in size. Altogether, the total mass of the asteroid could make an object only about 20th the size of the moon. So nana kada ko if mag-uban tanang mga asteroids revolving also around the sun between the Mars and the Jupiter, which is what we call this one as asteroid belt.